And good evening. Hello everyone. Hello. My name's Emily Baker and we're going to be talking about meditating this evening. And just before, just bear with me. Why is it Facebook does this? Right, okay, fabulous. All right. Lovely. So if there is anybody here, if you'd like to leave a comment. I'm just going to wait a few moments or two because it's dead on 5 o'clock. Going to wait a few moments or two. So for those of you who haven't seen me before, because I don't like dead air time, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. And if you're watching this on rewind, you can fast forward, of course. I'm a complementary therapist doing aromatherapy and reflexology, as well as a spiritual medium and a psychic artist. Welcome who's come along. And this evening I thought I'd talk about meditation. The series of Facebook Lives, I thought I would actually talk about the stuff that mediums tend not to talk about unless you ask them the questions. And so therefore, if you have got any questions or if you've got any queries or you would like me to talk about anything, please let me know, because I have got a couple of gaps in the diary allowing for you. Hello Emily, hiya, good evening. So meditations, right. I'm going to start cracking on now because it's a couple of minutes and I know that my last one was quite a long Facebook Live, so I want to just shorten these down a little bit as well. And I don't know if you have done meditation or if you do meditation or you've gone and said, yeah, okay, I've heard about meditation. Haven't got a Scooby-Doo. It's basically you sitting down, falling asleep, isn't it? And I have to confess that actually that's what I did for a number of years. Sat down and fell asleep. Oh yes. And if people ask me, was I good at meditating? I would turn around and say, no, I'm the world's worst meditator, because in my sleep, I talk in my sleep and I make noises and all the rest of it. So I'm not a quiet sleeper. Shock, horror for anyone who knows me. And so therefore, meditating, I always kind of sat there and kind of went, oh, we've got to do meditating. Oh gosh. So my first encounter with meditating came through spiritualist churches and in development groups. And the common practice, so I'm going to go through the common practice of what you get told to do. And I'm also going to go and tell you a little bit about the background of meditating as well. And so the common practice is you sit there, forgive me if you get to do something else, but sit there in your chair, nice and comfy, back straight, chest out and all the rest of it. Find yourself kind of straighten your spine so that your spine is almost sitting on top of your pelvis, so it's nice and comfortable. Close your eyes, have your feet firmly planted on the floor, your hands relaxed in your palm upwards, in your lap, not in your palm because that's quite difficult to do, but palm up. Gently close your eyes and breathe. And now we're going to take you through a visualization. Okay, all right. So for me, that was a kind of a cue of, oh gosh, I'm going to have to fall asleep now because I know I'm going to. And at some point, I'm going to have to wake up either after everybody else or before everybody else, because that tends to be what happens. So if any of you have experienced that or are experiencing that, don't worry, you're not alone, because most people do go through that. I found out years later. So there we go. That basically is what happened to me. And in fact, it continued to happen to me all the way, I would say, till this year. All right, so bear in mind, I started doing that practice way back in the early 2000s. So it's nearly taken me 20 years. Yeah. Now just breathe. Just calm down. It's okay. Don't get stressed out about it. Meditations. Okay. Do we know what they're good for? Did you know that there was a health benefit to meditating? Well, there is. You're basically changing your wave patterns of your brain from being really overactive, thinking of this, that, and the other, when you're really stressed, to actually being in a much calmer state of mind. Okay, so that is the mechanism of it. Yeah, the bit that you're actually doing. So what are we actually doing for our body? Well, first of all, you're going to start regulating your breathing. You're going to concentrate on your breathing. That's the main part of it. And breathing nice and regularly, not when you're stressed out, everything is tight up here in your chest area. So you're going to start regulating and kind of opening out your chest, allowing that air to come in. When you allow air to come in, your lungs then have that oxygen to help your blood cells be oxygenated. I can't talk this evening. Have oxygen in them. I'll do it that way round. And from there, they can go and flow around your body. So all your tight muscles that you've got, your heart rhythm and all of that, it starts to be much more regular. So they have done studies. I'm going to say this right now. They've done studies in looking at not just breath work, but also in meditating, and found that it's great for stress, it's great for depression, it's great for anxiety. And you may think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to be like a Buddhist and sit there for 3 hours and have a really good time. Well, yeah, okay, you can do. And I would also advocate, it's kind of a case of when you are aware of what your body, and this is the thing, it's being aware of what your body is doing, then you can start kind of getting into the practice, but without having to fall asleep. Isn't that great? So here we go. So that, and I, trust me, look, I bought 4 or 5 boxes of books 1 year, and this guy, he was a yoga practice, and his daughter was selling off his books, and he had a whole wreath of different types of books, and she said, oh God, huge library, a lot of them I've given away, but this lot I'm selling, and I said, yeah, no, I'll have them. Great, because to find books on things like meditating, about Ayurveda medicine, about Tai Chi and all the rest of it, you end up spending a lot of money. So no, and he's written comments and stuff like that. So one book here is Teach Yourself to Meditate. It's one book I've looked at. Breathe Well, Be Well. Now I have to say that he kind of gives you techniques of how to for your breathing to breathe well, because actually we don't really breathe well. We don't use the whole lung. Your lung comes from all the way up here all the way to the bottom of your rib cage. It's huge. They're not the biggest organ, I have to say. That's your liver, and it comes back again. Right, sorry I'm late. No, you haven't really missed. It's just me babbling, Rich. So you're all right, Rach. It's okay. So I'm just going through kind of the background of meditating. So meditating, and he talks also about, this is Robert Fried, PhD. The first one was Eric Harrison about Teach Yourself Meditating, if you want to have a look at these books. I don't know if they're in print anymore. If you are interested in the books, let me know. Learn to Meditate. See, as if you can't find more stuff on meditating. And then the other one is the Meditators Handbook. So, and I haven't even looked at the books that I got from India, because they all talk about meditating. All the books, every single one of them that I've taught with regards to mediumship always goes on to talking about meditating. And another reason for this is brainwave activity. So we accept that now that meditating really does help with reducing stress, helping reduce anxiety and depression. And I feel as though this is really, really important in these days when, especially in the UK, we're still going through transition periods. We're coming up to a transition period where schools are going back. And people are kind of going, oh gosh, there's more people going to be around, and soon it'll be the end of March, and then people will be going to pubs and stuff and sitting outside, not inside, outside, things like that. So we're going to go through a transition period, and I'm hoping that this will help you in those transition moments. And it doesn't have to be you falling asleep. It really doesn't. However, I will say that sleep during the day, it's not a bad thing. If it's about 10-20 minutes long, it's not a bad thing. Breathing does help. Breathing is really quite important. And in that, meditating allows you to be aware of what your body is doing. Okay, so got that bit. And I'm just going to check on my notes. Just bear with me, because there was a few things I wanted to I'm looking at completely the wrong notes. Right, okay. This is what I wanted to tell you. Breathing, okay. In Tibetan, breath is the horse and the mind is the... What did I put down there? I put down there the nodder. So it's the rider, actually. So the breath is the horse. So we need the horse. That keeps us going. And the rider is the one... is the mind. It's always chattering away. Oh, and I need to tell you, if you think that your brain doesn't stop having little bits and pieces coming in, it's going to, okay. Diane, oh yes, meditation and the art of it is fantastic, great. Life enhancing practice for one's health, yes, and mind, and yes, stress. Reducing with me. Reducing wonderfully, investment for life's journey. Absolutely. So this is something that's free. Okay, it's free. What a bargain. What a bargain. So, and again, breathing itself has been shown to show signs of reducing stress and anxiety. And also we're looking at things like fear and sadness and all of those things that are cropping up at the moment. But also, when people are actually anxious, have you noticed that breathing becomes shallower? When people are fearful, you see it on TV, don't you? They're kind of walking into that spooky room, and all of a sudden they go, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. Because everything in their body is starting to tighten up. Their adrenaline is going. It's going to the muscles because they're in the fight and flight system now. And it's kind of like, okay, breathing is important, but only shallow breathing, because I only need so much oxygen to get in. But when we relax, okay, and we can take that moment and we can kind of say, oh, okay, let's have a look around. It's not so spooky. It's a bit dark, admittedly, but look, I've got a torch. Hurrah! So yeah, so it's just giving yourself that time. Okay. Now the other thing I found is the positioning of how people sit. Now a lot of people sit with their feet to the floor. And I don't know about you, but for me, I find this incredibly excruciatingly painful. And you'll be thinking, why? You're sitting in a chair, your feet are on the floor, that should be fine. What happens for me is that because of my energy system, internal energy system, and this isn't for everybody, is that it heats up and my soles of my feet burn. Now I also get this with Tai Chi, and it's because of my breathing. Okay, it's my chi, if you like. So where your solar plexus is. So do you know where your solar plexus is? Think of your stomach. That's your solar plexus. That's the prana. That's the chi, the life force is there. Okay, so that's where most people's energy is. It's there in the stomach area. And for me, that builds up. It doesn't necessarily go to all of the chakras and all of the parts of the body, but it does go to the feet quite successfully. So I know that I've done Tai Chi and Qigong, and my feet will literally be burning to the point of which I have to look at the floor to see if I haven't scalded the floor, be that hot. Just the soles, not the top of the feet, just the soles of the feet. And then one day, this is my aha moment, I literally put my soles of my feet together. So if you find that your feet get hot and you get twitchy feet and all the rest of it, try putting your soles together, or try sitting in the lotus position, which is actually cross-legged, where your body is actually connecting itself, so you're making a full circuit of your body. So there isn't a right way and a wrong way of doing this, because I have actually checked this one out because I thought I was going a bit doolally. But immediately when I put my soles of my feet together, so even sitting down in a chair, just putting the soles of my feet together, I suddenly was focused. My brain was there. I could listen. I wasn't falling asleep in meditation. I wasn't being able to go into fantasy land. I was actually hearing the visualization of what we were meant to be doing. But if my feet are not connected, then that's it. You've lost me. You have completely lost me. So yeah, so having a note, and I would say take your time with that one. Really, you'll notice it, and you'll find in different positions. When I was at university, we did a meditating time, and what we would do is I would tend to sit on the floor, because we were all told to sit on the floor, lying on the floor. Really, seriously, that sends me off to sleep. That's kind of like 30 seconds in and I'm asleep and snoring. That's me done and dusted. But so I would sit against a wall with my feet out, or I would actually move them in. Okay, another myth: if you're not going to be fidgety, you have to sit there like Buddha. And yes, the aim is to sit there like Buddha and not to move and to be angelic and all the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. That takes practice. That really does take practice. So if you are starting off, you are going to be fidgety. You are going to have that itchy nose, and you're going to suddenly go, oh God, I'm really uncomfortable. Oh, my back hurts. And it's you starting to be aware of your body. I'd like to point this out. A lot of us are disconnected from our body. So just having a look to see if there's any other comments. And it's okay to be fidgety. However, the aim is to not concentrate on the fidgetiness. Okay, it's to say, okay, all right, that's uncomfortable, let it go. Okay. Next part I want to talk about: closing of the eyes. Do you have to close your eyes? I'm going to say no. I am controversial, I know. So again, there is this thing of everyone has to close their eyes. You don't have to close your eyes. The reason to close your eyes is that you can concentrate on what's going on internally. Okay, and you are kind of cutting out everything that's going off around you. You'll still be hearing the birds, you'll still be hearing cars and sirens and children playing, whatever it is that's going on outside, but you are concentrating, you're pulling your energy inwards rather than expanding it outwards. So when you have your eyes wide open, you're being stimulated into looking at things and wondering about. So in front of me, I've got a clock, and I'll be looking at that thinking, oh my gosh, I've been talking this long already. So, okay, so you don't want to have your eyes closed because you think you're going to fall asleep. Fine. Okay. The other methods are looking down. All right, just looking down and just having a really soft focus. So just looking down to the end of your nose and then down onto the ground. Now, if it helps you having a candle there, have a candle there. Fire regulations, just going to say that, health and safety, and obviously please have it in a container. Make sure that it's not going to tip over and then you haven't got kids running around if you're sitting on the floor. But just have a position where you're comfortable. How long should I do this for? Okay, you can do it for 5, 10, 15 minutes, all right, and build it up. And what positive experiences and benefits do you personally think you get from meditation? Fair enough, Rach. Okay, so firstly, to answer that one before I go into into the next phase, is for me it really does focus everything that's going on. So especially when I have a lot of stuff going on, so I'm worried about work, so work is chuntering on one side. I'm worried about money, so that's chuntering on another side, and I can't marry the two up. But then I'm also worried about my dog, and I've got the laundry to do, I've got the house to do, and oh my god, it's like literally tonight, one of my floorboards has gone, and I'm kind of going, oh my god, I have to sort that one out. Who's going to sort that? So all of that is chuntering on your mind. For me, just being able to disassociate from all of that noise and just be able to kind of breathe, things come into focus. So personally, that for me is kind of like, actually, that's just noise. I don't have to worry about that right now. It's not immediate. It's not life-threatening. I can deal with that in a moment or two. I can take a step. It's about giving yourself that space. Right? It's not about running around at 100 miles an hour. Okay. So it is about building it up. All right. So we were talking about building up the timing for actually doing meditation. So I know somebody who goes on a meditating retreat, and she will literally spend nearly 6-7 hours meditating on the floor, sitting cross-legged. Can you see me doing that? I can't. Not at the moment, anyway. It's not. You know, for me, that's. I'm not up to that proficiency. I have heard of monks, Tibetan monks, who will literally sit and meditate, and they can be in sub-zero temperatures. Okay, so that is another point to point out, is that, you know, you can disassociate yourself hugely. And again, it's about the control of breath. It's just being within your own space and not kind of it being part of the outer space, but not being part of the outer space and the outer noise. Okay. So that really does help, especially when I'm stressed. And I know when I'm stressed because my breathing changes. I get breathless very quickly, and I kind of go, and it's not due to my weight, but it's, I recognize, oh my gosh, it's that. Another one is when I'm starting to have a panic attack, or I can feel the starts of a panic attack. It starts off in my gut, and I suddenly kind of go, oh, my gut is churning, what's going on? And then I think back, okay, what's triggered that off? Think about it, calm myself down, breathe. It's so important. Breathing really is breathing. Find your own rhythm of coming in and out with the airflow. Really is important. Okay, we need it as a life force, funnily enough. We really do. Otherwise we'd be underwater, and we would still find a way of breathing. Okay. But meditation overall is about having an experience. It's an experience. It's not what happens for me may be different to somebody else, for other people and things like that. So let's go back to about mediumship for a moment, just for a quick moment. And I would just like to say that with mediumship, I do find that they take you on a visualization. Okay, Rich. So I'm going to talk about visualization in a moment. I find, Rich says, I have days when I felt I've had to take deep breaths. Yeah, a few times now. Okay. Yes, it is. It is a way of taking a few deep breaths. And do you stop doing what you're doing, Rach? Do you kind of go, okay, what's going on? Listen to what we don't listen to our bodies enough in this country. We really, really don't. And it is a case of taking that time to listen to our bodies. So I'd a guess when you've had to take a few deep breaths, things are perhaps starting to be a bit overwhelming or stressful at that time, Rach. And you're kind of saying to yourself, oh, hang on a minute. Oh, I don't know if I can do all of this. Yeah, great. And it's great that you acknowledge it, and hopefully that feels a lot better afterwards. It may be a case that you, instead of just kind of taking a few deep breaths, it's maybe a case of just taking a little bit longer time out so that you don't have to stop every few hours. Okay. to do that, and just kind of go, okay, what is it that I really need to do? Okay, so this is the part of the visualization part of it. And the visualization part, I was reading in one of those books that is really important. And I used to have an argument about this with myself. I didn't used to bring it up with people because I thought, oh, I'm going to be too controversial. I don't like the visualization. So the visualization for most people is, okay, you're going to go through, it's a nice sunny day, it's warm, you're now in a woodland area, and you're going to go through a gate, and there's a stream, and you're going to sit down by the tree, and you're going to notice everything around there. Well, that's great. That's absolutely great. Takes your mind, you go off to your pleasant place, etc., etc. Does it deal with the issue at hand? I don't know, because in meditation and mediumship, what they tend to do, have a look at those people coming to join you. Who are they? What do they look like? Are they short? Are they tall? Ask those questions. So it's very much along those lines of getting us to be much more closer to spirit. And I'm not saying that that's wrong at all. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you struggle as well, Rach, with following visualizations. Yeah. I can totally agree with you on that one. However, it does allow you to. It depends on the visualization. And I am going to say it does depend on the visualization, because if you are going to be in a woodland area and blah blah blah, it's all lovely and all the rest of it, then yes, okay, that's my cue for falling asleep. But I'm also going to throw something else that's a little bit controversial, and it's a study that they looked at, because what you're trying to do overall, you're doing a couple of things with meditating. One, we're changing our breathing pattern. Two, you're changing your brain waves. Okay. 3, you're taking you're disassociating yourself from what is actually going on and stressing you out to a much more relaxed state. So in this study, they were looking at children who were hyperactive. I think you may be able to find it on the internet somewhere. But what they were doing was to have a look at these children, and they found that actually getting them to walk in a circle around some chairs, so they could sit down, the chairs were all facing outwards, and all they had to do was just walk around the circle. And then that was it. They sat down and kind of went, oh. And they found that actually with this study, that the children who kept on walking around the circle and they would keep on walking, that their breathing changed, their brain waves changed, and suddenly this hyperactive state was calmed down. So okay, so meditation doesn't have to be sitting down. Shock, horror. So yes, you don't have to be doing that. You can be go back to, we're changing our breathing. We're concentrating on changing our brain waves. We're altering that. We're listening much more to our body. So you could do this in the practice of walking, okay, and being aware of every step that you take. You could also be that when you're doing something repetitive. So people have said, oh, well, you could do this when you're sewing. When I'm sewing, yes, time just flies, and it does relax me. So, and that's embroidery. Not kind of sewing clothes together, because I don't do that. I just don't do that. But yes, it is about taking that time out from the things that are stressing me and doing something different. It could be gardening. It could be that repetitive action of just digging a hole as well. On the other hand, it could stress you out. Like I say, there isn't, for me, for what I have found with people and people's experiences, and remember, meditating is an experience, that there is an overall idea of what to do, but I'm not going to say that it's right or wrong. Okay, because in my experience, I've done a number of different things, and they've worked at different times, and some things have just not worked. Okay, so again, sitting with my feet flat on the floor, my feet are already burning. So I'm sitting here kind of moving my feet around, kind of going, they're starting to burn now. It's really, really warm there where my foot is, and things like that. So that's a huge distraction. I'm concentrating on my breathing. I'm aware that I'm not taking a full breath, etc. And that's what meditating is about. So it's kind of just bringing it back to yourself. All right. So visualization. So visualizations can help. They really can. In that of just saying, okay, what do I want to focus on? What is it that I'm wanting to do? Now, I did do a really short visualization one of just kind of knocking the stuff out of my head. If I'm going into a meeting, of just having a blank canvas, and that's what I'm going to concentrate on, having that blank canvas. So then I can say, okay, this has popped up, right, okay, let's have a go and look at that. So I'm going to go through that right at the very end for you in a few moments as well. Have any of you got any questions for me at all? It's lovely to see so many of you. Any kind of things that you would like to know about as well. So I'm just going to have a look. So for a lot of cultures, especially when we're looking at the Eastern cultures, they do use meditation as a daily part of their ritual, and as part of their spiritual work as well. So again, it's connecting to your life force. Your life force. Who are you? Okay, listening to music while you meditate. Okay, here's a bit of a confession for you. So at night, recently, what I've been doing, because I struggle with sleep anyway. I use a cream that I've made up, which has got lavender, which knocks me out for 6 anyway. And I put on with my phone. I go onto YouTube and I find a meditating thing that lasts for 3 hours. Not that I'm going to last more than 10 minutes, because I just lie in the bed, and the first thing they're going to find yourself in a nice comfortable position, your spine straight and eyes closed. And of course I haven't got any lights on, so yes, I'm nicely warm, tucked up in bed, lights are off and my eyes are closed and I'm in bed. So that's about as far as I go and I'm asleep. Okay. Yes, there is music. Do I find it irritating? Sometimes. Sometimes I find that third age music, you know, that was running around in the 80s. A friend of mine calls it plinkety plonkety music. They find it very irritating, which is fine. Sometimes I find it irritating. Do I find it better now without music? Yes, because I'm now practicing without any music at all, and it helps with the visualization. It's just that little bit of a less distraction going on, and I also find that the time goes so much quicker. I'm amazed. I am actually amazed. And this is only recently. I actually timed it, and it was about an hour. I sat for an hour. I was kind of like, oh my God, I sat for an hour. And not only that, the visualization, I could hear all of it. And it was just like, oh my God. And I knew when we were going to come out of the visualization as well. So there comes a point when you are ready to come out of a visualization. You because you're aware of still stuff happening, you're aware of it. Recently I did a visualization and I felt a cat near me. And I went, oh, that's a bit. And it wasn't the case that it not woke me up, but it didn't. I was aware of it, but I stayed where I was. I stayed in that time of acknowledging that something had passed my legs, but no, there was no cat around. So things can happen when you are expanding your energy and listening to your energy and listening to what's going on as well. Okay. So that's my take on music. I would say, obviously, let's not have heavy rock music. I wouldn't have anything poppy. I wouldn't have anything with words in it at all if you're going to listen to that. I suppose the new age music is better for meditating with, because even if you think of classical music, that will bring in visualization for you. That will evoke emotions and things like that. That's not what it's about. It's not about evoking emotions. It's about recognizing your emotions of what you are before you go into the meditative state and during that first part of it, but also recognizing of how to calm it down. So hopefully that answers your question, Rach, about that. Any other questions that any of you have got for me at all? I take it, Rach, that you've kind of had struggles with meditating. But like I say, it's never a straightforward thing. It does take time. It's not a quick, easy answer. How I will also say that you will find talking therapies will use it, group sessions will use it, that the NHS will tend to use meditation now. So meditation is much more widely accepted, much more widestream, and I mean, the research was carried out back in the 1960s and it's still being carried out. So there is a wealth of research out there as well for you. So I didn't go into that. I didn't go down the rabbit hole of looking on Google, the font of all knowledge, as to all of the ins and outs of research and stuff like that. So, but I know that they are still looking into it, because I do hear bits of pieces about study and about meditation. But it is all about the diaphragm, the lungs, the breath, and etc. So if none of you I hope that I've kind of dispelled. Hi Caroline. I hope that this has kind of dispelled some of you kind of sitting there kind of going, I've got it wrong, I haven't got it right. It takes practice, and I think you have to find your own way of sitting, whether or not you want to have your eyes open or closed. I have actually tried them open in a soft way, and that's how I actually started out. I didn't listen to the first lot. I kind of tried it with my eyes softly closed, and I did find actually it was too much strenuous hard work keeping them open, and they did close. Did I fall asleep during meditation? Absolutely. Did I startle myself back to wake? Yes, I did. Do I make funny noises? Yes, I do. And sometimes noises where I kind of go, where did that come from? It's kind of, I can't even make them when I'm conscious. It's kind of and kind of noise, really weird noises. And some would say, oh no, that's spirit coming through to her. Well, it could be. It absolutely could be. But I also find, like, where did that's not me, that's not my noise. And I will have that internal argument, but I'm still aware of everything that's going on. I am not actually asleep. It is that fine line between being asleep and awake. That's what I would say to you. It is that fine line, and it's getting your brain waves into that. On a mediumistic level, it is about, we have to alter our brain waves into doing mediumship. So that's where the meditation bit comes in. Okay, but I would also say, if you are in a development circle and you're listening to this video and you're, later on and rewind or whatever, I would also say that development circles are great about learning about yourself. It's not necessarily about learning about mediumship. It's about learning about yourself. It's developing yourself. Okay. So any other further questions? Anything that you don't think I have covered? Anything that you would like to know? A lot of people started off, or haven't done the starting off, with a singing bowl, Tibetan singing bowl. That is the start of it, and then we have an end tone as well to bring you back. So to go back to your question, Rach, about music, if you have the music on, you might not necessarily hear the singing bowl above it. So again, it varies from practice to practice. I will now say, and I'm quite happy to say, I should have said it right at the very beginning, I am not an expert at this. I am telling you from my experiences, the bits and pieces that I have read in books, but it is about my experiences that I'm going by, and hopefully for some of you who are struggling, you kind of go, oh God, that's okay. Other people are struggling too. You don't suddenly get there overnight. please, if you are starting this off, start it off in small increments. Really, just don't stress out about having to sit there for hours on end. Start it off with 5-minute, 10-minute sessions. And I would say 5 to 10 minutes, because the 5 minutes you're kind of going to go, I'm fidgety, I'm moving all over the place. 10 minutes you'll find that you're relaxing, and you will find actually your body will shift. Your body will kind of drop its tension, and you will find the release of that tension in your body and legs or back or shoulders, wherever it is. So it is good. How do I feel? You missed my bit of internet meditation, Caroline, because I'm going to do it. Okay, how do I feel about internet meditation? Right, I use it as if it was a tape recording, or I use it as a tool, because especially during lockdown we can't meet up with people, etc. So to be able to sit with other people who are meditating, if that's your practice, and people do need other people to sit with. So it's not. I use it. I have to say, I use it as a tool. I mean, I use it to aid me to get to sleep. That's how I do it. But I'm very conscious about the meditations that I use, and I'm very conscious that if I am aware of what's going on and I'm struggling to get to sleep for any moment, then that visualization of whatever it is will pull me back, and it's kind of like, okay, I can just listen to that, relax, and get into it. For me, for sleep as well, I've used a whole wreath of different things about sleep, as well as to do with classical music. That helps me. Anything with words doesn't necessarily help me. So do I use it to manifest? Internet? No. Intent. Sorry, I read it as internet, didn't I? Sorry. Yeah, thanks, Caroline. So do I use it to help to manifest? No. In regards, I take it you're asking, Rach, do I use it to manifest in? See, I'm thinking of mediumship. Do I see, I've listened to manifesting visualizations. I'm asleep before I get to that point. Manifesting is always about the intent that you put out. So if you're going into meditation and you have a manifestation such as I want to bring in wealth, don't forget to be specific, then I would say that's going to be what your visualization is about. Yes, I do use intent actually, because I do meet up with one group online, and it's a drumming group, and we do sit there and we do meditate. I sit there with my feet together because otherwise they would be burning. And it is about, what is the intent that I want to bring in? Is it about bringing harmony to my body? Is it about being focused? Is it about having gratitude for what I have got? Okay. Is it about being calmer? Is it about being able to be focused? So I would say, do I sit there in a meditation saying, I really want to win tonight's lottery of 20 million? No, because invariably that won't work for me, because I've gone through that one as well. So hopefully, Caroline, does that help you with the intent part of it, and also the manifesting part of it? Manifesting desires, manifesting. Yeah, but I think, you see, I think manifestation is you acknowledging what it is that you're wanting. So once you start sitting down and you write out, okay, so you write down that you're wanting to manifest, I don't know, a lottery win. Okay, let's go for a lottery win. And the first thing that you kind of go, okay, lottery win, great, I'm going to manifest a lottery win. Well, the first thing you're going to need to do to enable you to win that lottery is to actually buy a lottery ticket or a scratch card. So I just feel as though when it comes to manifesting, it is a case of, even if it's a case of you writing it on a piece of paper and you burning it and sending it out, your brain is already thinking of that. So I don't feel as though you have to sit there in a meditation to be doing that at all. I don't feel as though you're going to have to sit there in the 40 minutes or whatever manifesting that, because you've already thought of it. You've already manifested it in a way, because for me, manifesting is about you pulling that idea in, and then you unknowingly or knowingly, you're going to be setting things in action to get you to that point. You've already taken that first step by having that desire, that manifesting of that desire. So that's where I go with that one. Does that help you, Rach? I hope that helps you with understanding that one. We've all gone very silent. Caroline, does that help you with intent? Because I think both of you have got very similar questions. There. Sorry if I sound a bit blocked up. It's because I've had the jab, and it's just I've just suddenly got very blocked up since having the jab. But it's okay. Yes. Okay, fabulous. That helps there. Right. Are we ready then? Because I'm going to do a really quick, short way of just doing a little light meditation. Now this one, and I know I said, I started way back in the early 2000s. I'm looking back, actually, my drama teacher told us this one. And this was when I was at secondary school. So I would have been about 13, 14 at the time. Good way to calm your kids down. Get them to lie on the floor in a darkened room. Caroline, okay, there's some mediums, psychics, that use different meditations for different intents. Yeah, I personally think that one meditation can be used for all intents. What do you think? Right. I would say if they're linked together, if there's a linking process between having different intents. It really does depend upon what the intent is and how strong you want it to be. Because I think if you've got a lot of intents going on, you're diluting it in a way, but you're also highlighting it. It's kind of a catch. So okay, so my intent perhaps during meditation is to be present, which is a huge part for me. And B is my breathing, and C is my feet. Okay, so all of those are my intents during a meditation. So there's 3 intents there when sitting down and actually doing the meditation, but I'm also acting upon those intents as well physically by A, having my feet together so they don't burn, B, I'm consciously breathing, because that is what I need to do to be able to get into that meditative state, and C, to be present. I'm still aware of all the noises, so if I feel like I'm drifting off, I need to bring myself back. So there's 3 intents there, all of them at different levels. So I think it's kind of, it's horses for courses almost, but yeah. If you think personally that meditation can be used for all intents, great. If it's just one intent that you want to concentrate on, that's great. If it's, like I say, if it's a multitude of things, I use it for a multitude of things when breaking it down. Of just being present is a hard one for me to do. Present really is a very difficult one, because my brain starts chattering, and B, I fall asleep. So not falling asleep, that is my main intent at most meditations that I tend to do, I have to say. All right, so if there's no more questions, nobody else has got any other questions that you want to throw at me, just for the next 5 minutes or so, I just would like you to take a comfortable position. So if you're sitting down, lying down, whatever it is, just take a nice relaxed position. Now for me, I would have my feet together. For some of you, you feel much more comfortable to have your feet grounded on the floor. That's absolutely great. But it's a place where you're going to be stable. and you just need to be stable. It's not a case of you're going to fall over and all the rest of it. So if you're sitting like I am in a chair or a stool with no arms or anything, you don't suddenly want to be falling forwards, backwards or sideways. So it is a case of being stable in your sitting position, or if you want to do it standing up, you can do it standing up. It's up to you really. Okay. So what I'd like you now to do is, whether you want to have a soft focus, i.e. that's gently closing your eyes, not fully closed, but just looking to the bottom of your nose, just have your head down slightly, just looking past your nose down to the floor, and just allowing that to be a soft focus. So if things go blurry, that's okay. Don't try to focus on it. For others, if you're much more comfortable with closing your eyes, then close your eyes. Okay. Now, while you're doing this, just breathe. Okay. And if it's a case that you need to sigh and let out a loud sigh, then do that. So taking a nice deep breath. So this is, we're now going to re-regulate our breathing. And Breathe Well, that book that I showed earlier, I would try to find it, because it gives you great exercises to do with breathing. So just breathe in and let's go. Okay. And just allow that breath out. Push it out almost, and then just gently take in a couple of deep breaths. And if you feel as though you're still partly tense and stuff, just take in another one. And you may find that you're yawning. All right. Okay. So again, that's allowing your body to take in extra oxygen. All right. So just let you do that for a moment. So as you can tell, I've not got any music on. So I'm just going to talk you through this one. It's a really, really quick one. And it's a visualization one. So whether or not you like visualizations, I don't know. And I'm going to have you all sitting in a theatre, in a cinema. Okay. Theatre or cinema, your choice. In front of you is a stage. Is there a screen there? No, there isn't. It's a blank wall. So if it's the cinema, the screen has been taken out and all you can see is a blank wall. And that blank wall has got all of your noise going on. Okay, so it's got, I have to pick up kids, or I have to do homeschooling, I have to put the tea on, I have to do this, that and the other, and washing and laundry and hoovering, and I have to eat sometime and fall asleep. All of that is on this wall, and great graffiti, and it's all messy like our minds are. So that's what's in front of you. Now from one side comes I'm going to call him Bob, because I always do. And Bob's got a roller. Now this roller is a magic roller, because he doesn't need to stop and refill it up with paint. It's got a magic paint in it. And he's just going to start painting. And he's just going to start from one side of the wall, not in the middle. No. It has to be from one side. And his roller, and you're going to follow the breathing of this. So breathe in as his roller goes up, and breathe out as his roller comes down. Breathe in as his roller goes up the wall, breathe out as his roller comes down the wall. So in front of you, you're seeing him painting the wall, and he's doing it at a nice steady pace, and you are matching his pace. He is matching your pace of breathing. So just want it nice and steady and even. And you're finding that he is painting nice and steady and even. And the colour of the paint is black. And this is because it can take away all of that noise. Now if you want to see it as blue, as white, as whatever colour, but it will take away all of that noise on that. All of that graffiti is now being taken away. So again, you're just watching him up and down with the roller, and you're matching the breathing. And he's matching you with your breathing. So if you are suddenly rushing, he's going to rush. If you slow down your breathing, he will slow down his breathing. And he's just going to paint Should be about halfway across the wall now. Now as he reaches the halfway point, you're now faced with actually what's in front of you, which is a blank space. Just concentrate on that blank space. Just concentrate on that for a few moments. There's no chatter there, and you're just listening to your internal rhythm. You can feel the breathing in and out. Perhaps you can feel your lungs clearer. Perhaps you can feel your rib cage moving. Perhaps you can feel it all the way up to your shoulders, moving up and down as you're breathing. Your stomach perhaps is moving as well when you're breathing. And you're comfortable. Okay. And he's finishing off the wall. He's going all the way across the wall. And now you're left in this space. And he's helped you find your breathing rhythm. And it's comfortable and it's secure. So any intent that you had beforehand, maybe it was a case of your intent was just to relax, to calm down, to be aware of your body. Be aware of your muscles relaxing. Now if my voice is drifting off and you feel like you're starting to fall asleep, bring yourself back. Start to bring yourself back into being aware of the chair that you're sitting in, the clothes that you're wearing, the space that you're in, the actual physical space, not in the visualization, but in the actual space that you're in. Just want you to take a nice deep breath in now. Hold it for a moment or two and let it out. Alright, so that's the start of the visualization. So I haven't talked to you about where you are, of sitting in your chair or on your floor or whatever. Being able to feel the clothing around you. Like I said, this is really, really quick. Just a taste of just starting you off for those of you who struggle. So I want you to come back. Just open your eyes. It says thank you, okay. So literally it can just be about that, just taking that noise away. Hopefully, Rach, that's taken away some of the noises for you. And when you are struggling with your breathing and you're finding, just maybe having, just use Bob the painter. He's lovely, he really is. He's happy to go to anybody. And just use him for being able to help you with the breathing and just kind of, oh, okay, it's not so bad. Okay, so hopefully that helps, and that's literally a starting point. That was only 5 minutes, so I haven't even talked to you about being aware of the clothing, of being aware of how you're sitting, where you're sitting, being aware of the seat that you're sitting in perhaps, or lying on the bed, or whatever the situation is, of feeling the clothing, the fabrics around you. So then just extend that meditation to include all of that. You know, you can do that while Bob is painting away, perhaps, and that you're sitting there and you're watching him, but you're being aware of what's around you, the fabric, the feels of things. And then you can bring it in a little bit closer to you about being aware of what's going on internally for you. I know somebody who does that, and they will meditate and they will actually have almost like a body conversation about, and I'm talking about germs and atoms and all the rest of it going on in his body. So there's a lot of different ways of doing meditation. Okay, so I've only pulled out 3 or 4 books. I haven't even pulled out a huge amount of books from upstairs. So hopefully that's helped you all. I have talked more than I thought I would do. I thank you very much. If there's any further questions, please let me know, and otherwise I'm going to call this evening to an end, and thank you very much. Now, before I do go, just to let you know, in 2 weeks time will be another Facebook Live, because obviously it's every 2 weeks in a month. The first Saturday and the third Saturday of every month I do a Facebook Live at this time. And please do join me. Next time I'm going to be talking about preparing as a medium. So that's going to be really short unless you've got questions for me. I'm happy to answer. If there's any topics you would like me to answer and go through, there will be one coming up about crystals, which I know nothing about, and pendulums, which I know a little bit about, almost as back as on a postage stamp size. Okay, so love you to join me. It'd be lovely. If you have missed any of this, I'm going to put it back up onto Facebook so you can rewind, get to the point where you joined in and kind of go, okay, I've watched the rest. Or that I'm also going to try to put it onto my YouTube channel. So lovely to see you. I hope that you've had an interesting evening. Hope that's answered some of your questions. Have a go. Please do have a go. It's something free that you can use. Don't worry if you're fidgety to begin with. Don't worry if you fall asleep. It happens to all of us. Just persevere. And if you think it's a whole load of baloney, go and find the research on it and see how it can help you. So thank you very much for this evening, and I look forward to seeing you all again in a couple of weeks' time. Take care. See you soon. Bye now.